Hi there and welcome back to Circuit the World. My name's Alice and today we are reviewing a product. We have a drone, for want of a better explanation, DJI Mini 2. Big shout out to Ian of London, which is a YouTube channel here on YouTube, funnily enough. Lots of good tips and hints and things about drones and how to fly them and where you can and can't fly them and yada yada yada. Really good drone channel if you are interested. I'll leave a link to him and a link to where you can get the DJI Mini 2 in the description box down below. But today we are on a field to have some test flights. We've done our flying course, so we are officially registered to be able to fly the thing. For the size of drone we have, we didn't have to do that test, but it's free, and I would advise if you're flying a drone just to do it. It took me about 20 minutes to read through all this stuff and then do it's a 40 multiple question quiz, and you have to get 30 right to hit the pass mark. But it's worth it because you just get a bit more of an idea about what you can and can't do with the drones, where you can and can't fly the drones, different drone categories and stuff. The Mini 2 is non-categorized at the moment, so there's a C category, but it doesn't fit in that at the moment, don't know why, but it then goes on weight class basically. So it's there's basically not many restrictions as to where we can fly it or what we can do with it. So we're just going to have a bit of fun today, do a bit of test flying and see what kind of shots we can get with it. I've never owned a drone before, I've never flown a drone before, and prior to taking the flyer exam, I didn't know really a great deal about flying drones or anything, and that's really only about kind of the technical side and the legal side of things. This drone is super easy to just kind of pick up and play and take away and just go straight into it. It's quite easy to control once you get the hang of, like, the left analog stick is the height, and then the pivot. Let's call it the pivot. And then the right analog stick is forwards, backwards, left, right. Once you kind of got that mechanic down, you can kind of get the gist of it quite quickly. It's very easy to fly. It's very easy to just set up and go. It very much wasn't difficult at all. I would say for people who haven't flown drones before, it's a good beginner drone. I say that without experience of trying to fly any other drone. Obviously, it does what it does, and there's a lot more possibilities we can do with the drone that we just don't know yet because we're so new to playing with it and kind of new to using it. Hopefully though, as we move forwards and learn more about it and fly it a bit more often, we'll get more used to the functionality and stuff, and we'll be able to ace some of the cool shots like I was trying to get, where it started with us and panned away. I didn't quite nail that as well as I should have done or could have done, but obviously practice makes perfect. We did lose the signal on it for a moment when it got too far away. I think it got about 400 meters away from us, which was fairly far, but we did lose the signal to it. All that does, basically, the drone has a return to home function, which is super cool. Basically, when you power it up, it grabs the geolocation of where you are at that moment, and that's basically what it calls home. So if you're flying it around and it loses signal, it doesn't just land wherever it is, which if it doesn't have a return to home point, it will, which can be a bit difficult because it should have a range of 2 to 5 miles. So if you fly it for 2 miles and then it loses connection and then just lands, you got a long trek to go get that thing back. So the idea of the return to home is that once it loses signal, it starts coming back to its geo spot, basically, and the minute it reconnects to the remote, we get control again. So that did happen. It only happened at 400 meters though, so we kind of need to look into why that happened. I don't quite know. Like I said, I don't know a great deal about drones. This is kind of my first introduction to them and working them out and stuff, but all in all, it worked really well. It was very easy to handle, very easy to fly, very quick. And I found out that if I looked at it whilst it was quite high in the air, it made my legs go funny. So that was a fun thing to learn. But like I said earlier, if you're interested in the drone, there's a link in the description box to where we got this one from. It's an Amazon link. I'll also leave a link in the description to Ian in London. Like I said, a very good drone channel, good at reviewing drones, knows a lot about drones, was pretty much the core research we did before we got this one. Obviously, the key thing about drones is make sure the drone you get, you can fly where you want to fly. Ours is uncategorized, so basically there is a drone category system, which is C0 to C5, and that's pretty much done on the fact of if it has a camera, if it's a toy, and its weight. But some drones, that rating system only came into effect recently, so the older drones don't fall into those categories. They are then classified by weight. And this drone is 249 grams and very tiny, as you saw. Well, tiny. It sits in the palm of your hand. It's quite small. You can catch it in your hand, which is just cool points. But because of this, there's very few restrictions as to where we can fly this. Obviously, be careful if flying them. If you're flying them low with other people, you can't fly them over crowds, point blank anyway. But obviously when we were flying around the field yesterday, there were a couple of times where there were some people. Just kind of be aware of them. It's not illegal to film them, obviously they're in a public space, but just be aware that people are around you, and obviously if you're flying it low as well. When I was flying it low around us, it was more okay because we are all there, we're all consenting, we all know it's there, we're aware of it. But just be careful if you're flying it low, basically, and there are other people around. Just make sure they're aware it's there. I mean, you can hear it. It's not quiet, and even when it was 80 meters above us, you could still kind of hear it. I think 80 meters was about where we lost it, but we were flying it around 30, 40 when we were just flying it around normally, and we could still hear it when it was above our head. So it does kind of alert the surroundings. I was quite surprised about that, actually, that it got so high and you could still hear it quite loud. It doesn't sound that loud when it's near you, but when you can still hear it that high up, it's interesting. It's interesting you can still hear it. But yeah, I hope this was helpful if you're interested in getting a drone. This is a nice, cool little good one for like a starter drone, I guess. It's a nice little size. There's very few restrictions and it's quite easy to fly. Yesterday was my first time in control of the thing, and I picked it up pretty quickly. So they're pretty easy to fly, and there was a little wheel on the back as well that enabled you to tip the gimbal on the camera to look down, to look up, which is how I was getting those overhead shots, or the ones where it was starting with us and going straight up. I was having a bit of fun with it, trying to show off a little bit, but practice will come perfect. And you know, if there's any drone footage on the channel in the future, it'll be seamless and beautiful and amazingly panoramically shot. I'm not the best person to tell you about drones, but do go check out Ian in London. He's got a load of great videos and a lot of good knowledge, and really kind of simplifies things that seem quite technical, like where you can fly drones and the rules and regulations. He's got a great video about all of that stuff. In fact, I'll link to that video there, and I'll also put it right here on the screen as well. But for now, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It's been an absolute blast. As always, if you enjoyed this video, go show that like button some good old-fashioned love. And if you want to support the channel, go hit subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss next time I upload a video. Stay awesome, and I will see you all in the next video!
Landing.
Yep. Beautiful.